Hello, this is Mark here at Gary's Guitars in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and today's subject is live music dying? Um, it's a big question. I hope the answer isn't simple because if it were simple, the answer would be yes, and I don't think the answer is yes, but it's changing for sure. Let's talk about that. And why am I talking about this on a guitar channel? Because guitar music is live music. A lot of people play guitar because they saw someone performing with a guitar and thought, I want to be that person. I want to, that they see themselves in the rock star, so to speak, and they take up the guitar. And that's something that's repeated over and over from the whoever the generations, the John Mayer to the Kurt Cobain to the Eddie Van Halen. I'm just going back in time here to the Jimi Hendrix, to the Beatles, and to Elvis. You saw this person performing with a guitar, and you thought, I need that thing. So live music is very important to guitar music. So I'm a performing musician. I've been a performing musician for about 35 years, so I'm a bit qualified to speak about this. Also, I've worked on the other side of, as working at venues, working in the technical staff, working in the organizational part of festivals and venues. So, I have some experience in that as well. So the world is changing, and a lot of these videos talking about the guitar world is the world is changing. I don't predict the end of the guitar anytime soon. As a matter of fact, the guitar is more popular. Let's see, it's more popular now than it was in the 60s. These companies are, Fender and four different huge factories around the world are churning out guitars and amplifiers and all that. And it's not just like, oh, there's this little company in Fullerton that's with a little warehouse, and they're just making these things, and there's a couple of dozen people there making guitars. No, this guitars are big. And so people saying like, well, sometimes when we discuss, the troubles of a guitar store, people go like, well, no one wants guitars anymore, so that's why. No, guitars are really popular. They're selling more than ever. So, um, what's happening at the venues? People go out less. The Netflix challenge is real. People are more comfortable in their own homes. You can have anything brought to you in your own homes. And so that's true. People go out less. But also, the nature of people going out is changing. So, as someone who played in bars, we thought that the business model was our business model was playing rock music. We were actually in the bar business. We just didn't realize it. Just like, do you remember? Some of you may remember, but the newspapers used to rule the world. Every town had several newspapers, and they used to just have a grip on the world. And they were in the news business. They were damn serious about, and they were influencing politics and life and all this kind of stuff. And then along came Craigslist and other internet sites that made it real easy and free to publish classified ads. And newspapers lost their classified ads business and forgotten they didn't know, but like, oh no, we're actually in the classified advertisement business. And without these classified ads, we're in trouble. And that began this kind of like degradation of the news world because they didn't really realize the business model they were operating in. Well, live bands thought they were in the live music business. They were in the people meeting people they want to date business and selling drinks. So previously, you would have to go to a bar to try to meet people that you could potentially mate with, or potentially be in a relationship with. Now people meet people on apps. The bar is not important for that. And drinking. People just drink a lot less in bars. Drinks are expensive, but also because people go out and have one drink. And there's nothing wrong with people drinking less. I totally support that. Alcohol is technically a poison. I'm not. I do drink, but let's be reasonable about this. Don't drink into excess, folks. And if you have a drinking problem, you should stop doing it. However, bars depended on selling lots of alcohol. and that's not happening as much anymore. So the bars and restaurants are having a tough time. That's giving the musicians who perform in them a tough time. Then you have that next strata up of the small theater gigs, of which I kind of I'm most comfortable in. I like doing those 200 seater kind of venues. There's downward pressure on that from now. Touring musicians are getting booked in the 200 seater theater. What used to be local theaters that would primarily have local music now have a lot more offers from touring musicians to come in, and you can see really great, even legacy act touring musicians or young touring musicians who will play in your 200 seater theater, and that's great. However, that puts pressure on the local musicians who are used to getting those gigs. So, where are people playing? Well, musicians are finding places to play everywhere. It's become more popular to play earlier shows, the brew pub shows, when in the COVID days hit. Remember the COVID days? People were playing on parks and lawns and wherever they could, and live music is not going to die in that respect. The ecosystem that supports live music is suffering a little bit. So, is there good news? Yes, there is good news. The good news is people are more concerned with are more open to buying experiences rather than buying things. Everyone has their iPhone, and this is and they get most of the things they need off it. That's their newspaper, that's their book, that's their music is on it. They watch movies on it. This thing, and people want to spend money. If you're going to work all your day earning money, you should spend it on something that makes you feel good about yourself. And going to an experience helps that, and that's why people have tolerated these $250 festival tickets, and just or live gigs being so much more expensive now. Now I know some of this is through Live Nation's cornering the market and that kind of thing, but aside from that, and this is a much more complicated story than I'm telling necessarily, aside from that, people are willing to go and have the experiences, and I think that bodes well for the future. That if we can find something that, if we can get people interested in a thing and going to a thing, and the venues I play at are destination venues nowadays. They're just like, oh, you're playing that place? I like that place. You're there, and I like the place. I'm going to that gig. And several of the places I play at the most, pardon me, that's the story. So, it's an experience, and people want that experience. What's the future hold? Probably a little more degradation. There's going to be more bars and restaurants going out of business. We lost a couple this year. But I do believe that live music and guitar music will survive and will thrive. So I'm staying hopeful. That's where I'm keeping my chips for now. So if you want to leave any discussion in the comments, tell me what shows have you been to and lately, and what was your experience like? Because that would be an interesting thing to find out about. So now, the wrap up. The channel and what I'm going to be doing with it. So, I keep talking about bringing back the lives, and I'm really close to doing that as well. People say they like these, what I call the editorials, just sitting and talking to the camera about a subject, and they get a big reaction. People also say they like the reviews, and I like doing reviews. There's a lot of them here on the YouTube channel, but they just get a lot less attention than the editorial videos. So, I'm going to do both. Rather than go, I was alternating for a while, and so then I have one video that was popular with a lot of views and a lot of discussion, because the discussion is an important part of the whole thing. And then I do a video about an amplifier, and then I do a video about something else that's bothering me, and whoa! So I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week, and I'm telling you this so that I keep myself accountable to that. So there's going to be an editorial video, and there's going to be a gear video, and 2 every week, probably starting next week. But we'll see how this week goes. And gonna try the lives again. Figure out. So the live. If anyone didn't see, there's archives of our lives. We did 100 of them, and it was called Guitar Talk, and we just talked about guitars. So it was fun. We had a nice little community with that, and so I want to get back to that too. So that's the story. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon, and leave lots of comments about not only about your opinions about everything I've said here, and we'll talk to you soon.